Hello and welcome to Rise and Unwind. My name is Dan. You know, each and every week I try to talk to people from across the country about things we could do right here in your neighborhood. It's the big game weekend, and I talked to Wayne Brady about how he's going to wing it.
They reached out with this idea of me doing an improvised special live.
All of that and more right here on Rise and Unwind. 2025 is bringing big changes for small businesses. You know, everything from taxes and wages to new AI regulations. So today we have Gene Marks. He's a CPA, business owner, and columnist who writes on public policy, the economy, tech trends for major outlets. And he's here with some practical insights on what to expect and how to prepare for this season. Welcome, Gene. How are you, my friend?
Hello, Dan. Thanks for having me on.
All right. New administration, that means new policies. Do you see this more as this one is a little more business friendly for you?
Well, first of all, the National Federation of Independent Businesses just released their latest small business optimism survey. They reported that their small business optimism is at a 6-year high. And that's great news considering you got 33 million businesses that supply half of the GDP and half of the employees around the country. So a lot of small businesses are optimistic. But I got to tell you, when I talk to my clients and my readers, even though we do have a relatively pro-business friendly environment now in Washington, there are still a lot of rules, regulations, challenges, and uncertainties this year that a lot of small businesses are going to be dealing with. So buckle up.
Retirement, paid leave, minimum wage, they're all changing in 2025. What should business owners and employees kind of be watching for?
Sure. Well, on the national level for retirement, be careful. If you have a relatively new 401k plan, you're required to automatically enroll your employees in that 401k plan. Not enough businesses know about this. But for the most part, Dan, the whole thing on employment law, paid leave, minimum wage, retirement, overtime rules, all of that stuff is being pushed down to the state. So it really depends on where you're located and where your employees are and where your operations are. 30 states now have higher minimum wages than the national minimum wage. 70 local jurisdictions are increasing their minimum wages this year. Different states have paid leave and sick time rules as well. So you got to really keep up on it. And again, it's not just where you're located, it's where your employees are working as well. And a lot of small businesses have remote employees. You got to make sure you're up to date on their state's rules as well.
So are there any new expiring tax regulations that we need to keep an eye on before filing this season?
So, Dan, this year is going to be tax Armageddon, okay? So, 2024 is in the rearview mirror, so that's that. But 2025, there is a bunch of rules and regulations that will be expiring from the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. If nothing happens, small businesses that are pass-throughs are going to see their taxes go up. Small businesses are going to have less deductions for buying capital equipment or spending on research and development. You and me, our standard deduction will be cut in half. It's a lot of changes that could happen. Now, the Trump administration and the GOP will be working hard, I think, to either extend or make permanent a lot of these regulations, but they have a slim majority in Congress, and the very legit question being asked is, how is this stuff going to be paid for? So I am expecting to see clarification by late spring, early summer. My advice to you, get with your accountant. If you don't have a good accountant or CPA, use the time now to find one so that they can advise you, because it's an opportunity to really save some money or protect yourself depending on when these new laws become reality, which I do expect to happen mid-year this year.
And AI, it's everywhere. Is it impacting small and mid-sized businesses this next year?
Yeah, I mean, in a whole lot of different ways, but one big way that it's going to impact businesses is regulations. I do expect the Trump administration to really kind of hang back on national regulations of AI, but 8 states this year are implementing new regulations and laws on AI, and I see that trend continuing. It's all about using AI to hire people and recruit people and manage them. This stuff can be biased, Dan, you know? So states are starting to come down on that, and businesses, even if your state does not have a new AI law, but you have a worker working in a state that does, you may have to be in compliance with that stuff.
And with so much on the horizon, what do you think a business owner should be doing or getting ready now to get prepared for some of these changes?
One word: outsource. Okay? I mean, there is no way, if you're running a small business, that you can keep up on all these tax changes and HR changes and AI rules and I mean, you can't do this. So you need to make sure you've got a good, accountant or CPA to advise you on the taxes. On all the HR and other compliance things, use a good HR firm. Paychex is a really good one. I have a lot of my clients that use them. They do all the regulations. They take care of all the paperwork. They know all the rules. You outsource all this stuff to a good HR firm like Paychex. They handle this stuff, all the compliance, to make sure that you're following those rules, and then you go out and you run your business. So if there's anything I'm seeing among my clients, what I'm telling them to do, the trend that I'm seeing is that business owners are throwing their arms up in the air and saying, we can't keep up with this stuff. We need to be outsourcing it, and that's what they're doing.
I'm absolutely in the same boat, running the show and doing all that. I'm like, I can't do any filing,
Can't
all
do
that paperwork. I'm done with it. It works.
Yeah.
All right. Well, where can we go for more information, my friend?
Yeah, I mentioned Paychex because that's like probably the biggest issue for most small businesses. Go to go.paychex.com/2025. Paychex is spelled with an X, so it's Paychex. They have all the regulations in all the states, your state, and all the other ones that affect you, as long as like tips and advice for navigating your way around these regulations. So I think that's a big place that you want to start.
Hey, I know how to put people on TV. I just don't know how to fill out what form goes with what and why.
Well, now you know where to go.
Well, Gene Marks, thanks for hanging out with me this morning, my friend.
Thanks, Dan. You take care. It's a pleasure.
Have you ever dreamed of turning your living room into the ultimate sports zone? Well, you know, with the big game around the corner, now might be the perfect time to upgrade your TV or home entertainment setup. So today we have tech and entertainment expert John Couling, Senior Vice President at Dolby, here to share his top tips for an immersive experience. Welcome to the show, John. How are you, my friend?
I'm very well, thank you. And thank you so much for having me on the show.
All right, when it comes to creating a home entertainment system, what should be top of mind for shoppers?
You know, what everyone says to me is the first thing they think about is how big a TV they can get, you know, how many size. And what I say to people is also think about the quality. Think about the picture quality, and importantly, think about the sound quality as well, before you also think about just how big you want to go.
So what are some of the newest technologies that make watching sports or movies something that I want to be immersed into it? What makes it more immersive?
Yeah, it's a great question. So if you think of that big game, right, what you want is you want to feel like you're stood there in the stands with the fans of your team, right? And so that's what we mean by immersion, feeling like you're really part of the action, you're really part of the scene. And there's two technologies I would tell people to go look for. One is high dynamic range, or HDR, and you see that as Dolby Vision. That means the best picture. And then for audio, Dolby Atmos. That's sound that's all around you and puts you right in the middle of that action.
So how can we get the most out of our setup without like over complicating things and, I don't know, overdoing it, I guess?
Yeah, and you know, that complication factor is actually important, right? People have really invested within the manufacturers and ourselves to make the setup as simple as possible, trying to make solutions that are really easy for people to be able to use. First thing I would say is think about your budget and think about whether you want to put that all into the TV or split it and use some of it for a sound bar because you really want to make the sound great.
And what's some of this technology that excites you the most, John?
You know, I'm really excited by how the creative industry just pushes the experience for us. And so, you know, we're now like we're there in the stadium. You know, I've got a wonderful Atmos system at home, and it really does feel like I'm at the game. And I love that every day.
So where can people go for more information and maybe learn more about these Dolby systems and get better, I don't know, get a better system for your home?
Yeah, so I would say check out dolby.com/home. There's a wealth of information there. You can find information about the technologies, about products, figure out the answers to your questions, and find the setup that works just for you.
John Couling, thanks for joining me this morning.
My pleasure, thank you.
So you probably remember the Thundermans. It's that family of super siblings trying to live that normal life. But they're back with a brand new spinoff called The Thundermans Undercover, where Phoebe, Max, and Chloe tackle fresh missions and new challenges. So joining me now are the stars themselves. We have Kira Kosarin, Jack Griffo, and Maya Lee Clark. Welcome, everyone. All right, let's start with the basics. What's Thundermans Undercover all about?
The Thundermans Undercover follows Max and Phoebe as the Hero League sends them on an extended undercover mission in a beach town called Secret Shores. They bring Chloe along for the ride, both for training and to help them with the mission to take down the mastermind, and also just so that Chloe can experience what it's like to live a normal life undercover rather than being a famous superhero. And it feels a lot like the original Thundermans series, but with some new, exciting, fresh stuff.
So what was it like coming back for the spin-off series?
I think we were all really excited about it after doing the movie after so many years and seeing that chemistry really was still there. And it was just fun. It was just so much fun. I mean, me and Kira had the best time growing up on this show, and so to come back and get to like play the characters again in like a whole new way with new stories, 26 new episodes. I mean, we're just so incredibly lucky. And with this sort of new spin on it, we sort of come in these more mature parental roles for Chloe. We're kind of taking care of her on this new superhero undercover mission, like Kira said. But really, we want to give Chloe a more normal life, kind of like what our parents did for Phoebe and Max for us when we were kids, when we moved away from Metroburg to Hiddenville, kind of following suit and doing that again for Chloe because we see a certain pattern that's similar to to Phoebe and Max's upbringing as well.
So how do your characters grow and change in these new episodes?
With Chloe, I actually got to develop her character this season, which was fun because I used to be just a 3-year-old kind of saying lines, and now I get to really show off my acting skills. And I'd say she developed like a lot of independence and sassiness. She's been very sassy, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Phoebe and Max are always Phoebe and Max at their core. But as we've grown as people and as actors, each time we come to the characters, obviously you have more life experience and more to bring to the character. And obviously Phoebe and Max are in a totally new paradigm. They're basically raising a 13-year-old. They're also working jobs at Chloe's school. And so it's fun to get to see Phoebe and Max in that new position. They have, some new style, some new wardrobe, some new energy. But at the end of the day, they're very much still Phoebe and Max, all of the things that make them them. Max is always fighting with his desire for fame and to be a good superhero. Phoebe is always fighting with her inability to somehow not make things worse, even though all she wants to do is be a good superhero and do great at her job. She makes a lot of puns. Max hates them. It's the old days,
Yeah, I would echo all of that as far as kind of what I was saying earlier about becoming sort of these guardians for Chloe, but also I see how we grown. I mean, I think in the original series, for example, Max was all about being a supervillain, and he grew a lot in that original series because he learned that that the good always wins and good prevails, and he ends up being a superhero. Like his family always taught him that he should be, and kind of like Kira touched on a second ago. Now, in the movie and even in the series, it's not about being his thing isn't being a supervillain anymore, but his thing is like this like fame of being a superhero and kind of getting caught up in all that and wanting to be a hero really for the wrong reasons. And so I think over the course of this season, we showed a little bit of it in the movie how Max sort of developed and his heart grew a couple of sizes and realized that it wasn't all about the glitz and the glam of being a superhero. And we kind of expand on that in the series, obviously. We only had a short time amount to do it in the movie, and we really expand on that, like I said, in the series. And he gets to be, like Kira said, we our undercover job at Chloe's school, and find out what's important again. I think Max is someone that is impressionable and kind of gets caught up in perception and as we all can. And so I think the overlying thing for my character is just what's important, cut the fat, what do we really care about, and at the end of the day, it's really each other and our family.
What do you think fans could look forward to the most?
Hopefully
I think lots of fun and lots of laughs.
Yeah, a lot of guest stars from the original series. A lot of action. Jack throws a couple backflips. He makes a
I think
couple
it's
puns.
nostalgic, yet new and contemporary. I think the fans who have watched our show are going to love it because they watched our show, and I think the fans that haven't watched it are going to love it because it's new and it's exciting. And we have a lot of the same showrunners, all three, as the original show. So we had all that success on the original show. Kind of they're carrying over, all all their amazing tools and talents to this new show, and I think every episode is great. And as the episodes continue to come out on Wednesday nights, I think fans are going to see us really hit a stride about mid season of this first season. So I'm excited to watch the series come out along with the rest of the world. So yeah.
Thank you guys. Be sure to catch Thundermans Undercover, airing weekly on Wednesdays on Nickelodeon and streaming on Paramount Plus. Thank you so much for joining me, Kira, Jack, and Maya. You know, tax season is here, and the IRS is now accepting those returns. So today we have CPA and TurboTax expert Lisa Greene-Lewis, who's here to share with us ways that we can help maximize those refunds, navigate new changes, and avoid some of those common mistakes. Let's welcome her to the show. Lisa Greene-Lewis, how are you, my friend?
I'm fine. Thank you for having me.
All right. You know, refunds are always top of mind. What can we do to try to get the most back?
First, I would gather all your documents in one place. You want to gather your documents that report your income, like W-2s and 1099s. But more important, you want to gather receipts and forms that show expenses that could be deductible. And then second, you can make a 2024 IRA contribution of $7,000. It's $8,000 if you're 50 and over. And you can do that by April 15th deadline. And you may be able to deduct that contribution.
And you said the deadline is when? April 15th?
April 15th for the majority of tax filers. Unless you've been impacted by a disaster, you may have additional relief. You know, there was a lot of disaster last year, so you could check the IRS website to check on the latest updates on disaster relief.
All right, there's a lot of new rules and adjustments. Can you highlight some of the few that did stand out?
Yeah, so there's not substantial tax law changes for tax year 2024, but I want to highlight some that can help filers' tax outcomes. The first one is inflation adjustments. So one of them is the standard deduction, and the standard deduction was increased, and it's $14,600 if you're single, $29,200 married filing jointly. And then the second is the earned income tax credit. That is a substantial credit. A family with 3 kids, it's up to $7,830. And then another reporting change, so if you're self-employed or have a side gig and you have payments processed by a third-party processor like Venmo or PayPal, they are required to report your transactions of $5,000 or more. And I'm bringing this up because that is much lower than the previous 200 transactions and $20,000.
And TurboTax is it's a major financial tech platform. How is it helping people kind of file this season?
TurboTax is providing done-for-you filing experiences, and we also have some free options. So if you didn't file your taxes with TurboTax last year and you do your taxes yourself on the TurboTax mobile app, you can file your federal and state taxes absolutely free, regardless of your complexity. So you could be self-employed, an investor, no matter what your situation is, you could file for free, and that's by February 18th. And then we continue to offer our TurboTax free edition for simple 1040s only, and you can have earned income tax credit, child tax credit, student loans, no other schedules, and about 37% of filers qualify. And then if you don't want to do your taxes yourself, you can hand them over to our TurboTax Live full service experts and get them done for you. And
what are some of the most common mistakes that you see when people do file? And also to help those out that need an extension, what's the best way to kind of handle that too? So one of the most common mistakes is just procrastinating, because people who wait until the last minute, they tend to leave important information off their return. Second, if you have kids, you want to gather the accurate Social Security number, because kids are worth valuable credits and deductions, but you need the accurate Social Security number in order to claim those. And then third, not filing at all. Some people might not make the IRS income filing threshold, but if you've had federal taxes withheld from your paycheck and you're eligible for some of the credits I mentioned, then you're leaving money on the table. And then your question about filing an extension, you can file with Form 4868
by the tax deadline, but just remember that is an extension to file and not to pay if you owe money.
All right, Lisa Greene-Lewis, thanks for joining us this morning. Where can we go for more information?
You can go to TurboTax.com.
Lisa Greene-Lewis, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
2 words. Yes and. All right, 5-time Emmy Award winner and 2-time Grammy nominee Wayne Brady is cooking up a brand new improv experience for the big game as the Cibola High School class of 1999 Improv Club president. It is my pleasure to welcome him to the show, Mr. Wayne Brady. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, man. That's so your high school had an improv club?
Yeah, I was the guy who started it. There was a big, gigantic club of, I think, like 6 or 8 of us, but we did it.
That's great, man. Were you also in the Thespian Society?
I was a little theater kid. So after that went into radio. Now doing this. So hey, I could improv like the best of them. Like watch. Yeah, those are my chops right there. Wayne Brady, you're gearing up for this like first of its kind. It's like an improv spectacle during the big game. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah. My friends over at Purdue Chicken, they reached out with this idea of me doing an improvised special live streaming show during the game on the commercials, which makes perfect sense because, in this day and age where everybody, yes, we're watching the game, but we're also on the phone, that if you're going to be on your phone anyway, then we might as well have something entertaining to keep you busy during those commercial breaks. And that's where I come in. I'm going to be improvising. No one has done this before. One of a kind thing where we're going to be making a whole show up, like to quote the log line, winging it, making up a whole show using suggestions from my social media. So I plan on having people stream going live on my Instagram, which is Mr. Brady Baby, Mr. Brady Baby. I'm going to try to use my TikTok, my Facebook. We're going to go live on the whole thing. And everybody in the comments and chats, they can use suggestions. We'll pull these suggestions and who knows what's going to happen. That's the fun. I don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen. All that we know and hope will happen is that we'll laugh. And I'll be able to comment on the game as it goes along. Maybe there'll be a great play. The next thing when we come back from the commercial, we're doing a scene about that play. Maybe there's a song. I'll be accompanied by my buddy, Jonathan Mangum, who's my co-host and improv partner on Let's Make a Deal and Whose Line Is It Anyway? And Chris Lee, who's on a brand new CBS show, Tracker. He'll be accompanying me and the mayhem will ensue. And that's how we're going to wing it.
So you're fresh off of Broadway. How does the high energy atmosphere of live theater compare to your Spurs moment comedy?
Well, it's a different beast, right? One is on TV or when I tour live, it's still high energy and still high stakes. It's just a different thing. Being able to tell a story and be a part of that is amazing. And doing The Wiz was just chef's kiss. It was a dream come true. And then I get a chance to turn around and be able to tour on stage and do my show, making it up, where I'm literally making up a whole show. So the two share the same energy, but they're different beasts.
All right. And if you conquered TV, stage, music, what projects or passions are you most excited about to tackle next?
All of it. Absolutely all of it. My hope is this year at some point, I've been super inspired by the work that I'm doing with Purdue for the big game, that the hope is by the end of the year, I'll have a big old improv special that we're going to produce where we will actually do a live improv special on TV, doing it live in real time, not just on commercial breaks, but the whole show will be improvised. The commercials, everything you see. That's the next thing.
That's killer. Wayne Brady, you're on your way to an EGOT, man. I can see you walking up there and getting one of each. I see that, man.
Oh, man. From your mouth to God's ears. But all I know is that I'm just trying to have fun. So if I come to Tampa and do a show, you need to come out so we can put those improv chops to use.
All right, we'll see how it goes. I know I'm going to just fail miserably, but I'll do my
Good.
best.
Good. That's improv. You are supposed to fail. So I'll see you there.
I will make it happen, my friend. Wayne Brady, thanks for joining us. Where can we go for more information? Also, one more time, what's the Instagram so we can check it out live during the big game?
It's Mr. Brady Baby, Mr. Brady Baby. That's all one word. On my TikTok, it's just Wayne Brady. And yeah. And if I decide to do it on Facebook, it's also official Wayne Brady.
All right, I'll be following you. Thanks, man.
Thank you so much, man.
And that's it for Rise Unwind. I want to thank you for tuning in, checking out the show. If you actually want to be on the show, email me. Just go to riseunwindtv.com. Make sure you follow us on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. Click that bell so that you know when we upload a new show. And until next week, that was Rise and Unwind.
Valentine, string your magic arrow, pierce it through my heart. Valentine, bring me love and sorrow. It's not fair to leave me in the dark. Every year I write you something different. Every tear's a fight. Maybe I don't deserve it. It's not fair to leave me in the dark. Valentine, I'm so blue. Every time, nothing new. Valentine, I won't wait. It's not fair that I always lose. I saw her, it only took a moment to brighten up my eyes. You saved me, and now I know your magic. Bring me through the lonely night. Valentine, I'm so blue. Every time, nothing new. Valentine, I will wait. It's not fair that I always lose.